I got a new club for you for this episode. You go, Bob, can you hit a golf ball? Well, we're not going to hit a ball with this, but this is an important club and a lesson that's going to be from one of the greatest golfers of all time. This golfer won 8 British Opens. You go, nobody's won 8 British Opens. We'll tell you about it. And yes, he did. And we'll also tell you how Tom Watson put me in my place. I'm going to show you how this helped Tom Watson and helped us an awful lot. Watson, like Johnny Miller, like so many young, supple golfers of the 70s, 80s, had in those days what was called the reverse C, a C just like this. In other words, they had the hips forward, the head back, and this curve that made a reverse C. It was what you were supposed to do, and it was a beautiful swing, hard on the back and hard for older guys to do. Watson found himself stuck right here a lot, and at the most inopportune times, he'd fire the ball off to the right. Couldn't bring it back because he got stuck right back here. What to do about it? He pondered that. In fact, in 1974, the first opportunity he had for a chance to win a major, he was right there in the hunt for the US Open at Winged Foot, and sure enough, the last day, his swing kind of left him that block to the right, shot 79. We're going to talk more about that 79 in just a bit and how it transformed Watson. But Watson learned, there's the ball. If you turn your shoulders, I'm pointing straight at the ball. And I'm following through straight at the ball. It's the angle of the shoulders. It's not this, if I do a reverse C, you're all over the place. So he started training himself to get his shoulders like this. If I'm more upright, my shoulders will not point at the ball, they'll point beyond the ball. And if I'm a little too far turned over and I point here, well, that's not good either. What we like is it pointed straight at the ball and straight at the ball through. What a great golf swing that is. You can get one of these at Home Depot. They are great for your swing. I use them also for training. In other words, I will turn and turn and turn with this rotational stick is what I call it. What a blessing it is, but what a blessing it was for Tom Watson to learn how to have his shoulders in the proper plane to hit a golf ball.
Many times I teach the shoulder plane rotation this way. Stand up straight and then rotate your shoulders so that the club, or if you have a rod like this, stays parallel to the ground on your backswing, and try to mirror that on your forward swing like that. Here's the critical thing. My spine angle remains the same on the backswing and then into the impact area, boom, and that keeps your head down. But it also makes you turn around the base of your neck, there and there.
I first met Tom Watson 50 years ago. I actually had confused him with Larry Nelson. Watson, Nelson, they both were young guys just starting out on tour, but their names kept coming up on the leaderboard. This young guy, Tom Watson, had just signed a deal with Steamboat Springs to represent their golf course on tour, logos and all that sort of thing. They were having a dinner at the Denver Country Club. I sat down next to Tom Watson. We're both young, a lot younger at that time, but he was even serious then. I said, Tom, after this is over, I'd like to do an interview. He goes, that's fine. And I said, and I like to keep it lighthearted and maybe introduce you, and we can do some shtick. And Tom Watson looked at me and said, I don't do shtick. And he didn't. He hasn't. never will. I call the straight left arm an aggravation of frustration and also a myth. It isn't necessary. It looks great. Rory McIlroy, Van Hogan, incidentally, they're more rotational. It's easier for them to keep their arms straight because they're short. They're shorter, they're 5'6", 5'8", and when you're back in here, more rotational, isn't it easier to keep it straight? But when you're up in here and you want width to your swing, well, what you want with your left arm, lead arm, if you're left-handed, with the lead arm, you want it relatively straight. Rigid isn't necessary. Relatively straight so that you can get width out to here and then really get length. Width and length. Let's hit one, okay? Boy, that left arm, that's dead straight, dead straight. That left arm does bend, but so does Tom Watson's. So does Angel Cabrera. So does Kenny Perry. There's Hogan, there's Rory, and there's Bob. But you want width and length. Width and length. More on Tom Watson in just a moment, but first a message from our friend. Hi there, Bob. You've got kind of a high-pitched voice. Yes, I do, I know. But please subscribe right down here below. And thank you for watching. And also give comments. Comments below. There's something special we can learn from Tom Watson, and that is how to play in bad weather. Do you just hate bad weather? You don't want to play in the rain, the wind, the cold. Tom Watson said it's mental. Everybody's playing in the same weather conditions. He was the greatest bad weather player of all time. Maybe the greatest golf round ever played was at Muirfield Village, Jack Nicklaus's course, when Watson shot a 69. The temperature was just a little bit above 30 degrees, spitting rain and ice, a lot of wind. The average score was in the 80s. In the 80s for PGA Tour players. Watson shot a 69. Some people say it was the greatest round of golf ever played. In the Open Championship, where Watson won 5 times plus 3 senior British Opens, that's 8 Open Championships, Watson said simply this: hit the ball solid. The wind, the cold won't bother it. The worse the weather was, the more Watson concentrated on his swing of just staying with it, hitting the ball solid, not worrying, just hit it solid, go hit it again, putt well. No wonder he was the king of the links. I really respect Tom Watson, and I really, really like Gary Player. Do you know about Tom Watson and Gary Player? Boom, boom, they clash. They do not get along. Why is that? I'll tell you, something as simple as the rules of golf. I'll tell you. Tom Watson is a straight arrow. Gary Player is a competitor, fierce. How do they look at the rules of golf? Big difference between the two. Tom Watson, strict, straightforward, sees the rules of golf like the 10 Commandments. You do not break them. These are rules. Gary Player, on the other hand, sees the rules of golf, and he knows them backwards, forwards, sideways, upside down, and every way. And they're another tool, another club, if you will, in his golf bag. In the skins game years ago, Watson got ticked off at Player. He said Gary Player finds more anthills, burrowing animal holes than anybody in the history of tour. But Gary Player knows the rules. Which one are you? I'm kind of In between, I respect the rules, but you better know them because they can be used to your advantage. Regardless, Tom Watson, determination, commitment, and what a golf swing. He got better with age. In the beginning, he was really fast, but as he slowed down a little bit and his swing wasn't quite so long, I think when he was 55 years old, 56 years old, Tom Watson had one of the best swings in the history of the game because it had slowed down enough and it was with length and width, and he could still strike a golf ball. One final word: the ironies of golf, the fates, if you will. In 1983 at Royal Birkdale, Tom Watson won the British Open by 1 stroke. Why? Because of this club, the putter. Hale Irwin missed a 2-inch putt. You can't miss a 2-inch putt. Hale Irwin did. He walked up to it and put his putter down and then kind of looked up and whiffed a 2-inch putt and lost by 1 stroke to Tom Watson. But you talk about the fates of golf. 26 years later, Tom Watson was set to be set all-time history. He was almost 60 years old, and he was on the 18th tee at Turnberry and only needed a par to win another British Open at almost age 60. Beautiful drive, selects an 8-iron, beautiful 8-iron, hits the center of the green, perfect shot. Watson later said it must have been a hard spot on the green because it hit and it didn't hit forward and check and stop. It hit and skidded over the back of the green. Now Watson is dealing with the problems being an older golfer, the yips and so forth. He made up not a great chip, ran about 8 foot by and didn't even come close on that 8-footer, lost it in a playoff to Stuart Singh. Wins by 2 inches and then loses because of a hard spot. The fates of golf. And may the fates of golf bless you. May you have a healthy, wonderful, fit, and maybe even a little bend in your lead arm. I remember one other thing about Tom Watson. In 1982, when he made that great, incredible chip in to win on the 17th hole at Pebble Beach to win over Jack Nicklaus, I was at CNN Sports at that time. And get this, Tom Watson called me from the airport and we talked on air about that great chip in. So I appreciate Tom Watson's character. I really do. He takes it all because he is a man of character. And I hope you are too, because golf really shows who we really are and how we abide by the rules, accept the rules, accept the bad moments, but we live life to the fullest because we're golfers. And as Harvey Pinnock always said, if you love golf, you're my friend, and you are my friend.